All right. So let's start our Teachers' Day, our Happy Teachers' Day activity digest, because yes, today is Happy Teachers' Day. And we're really lucky actually, because this year Teachers' Day is on a Saturday. So it's a doubly happy Teachers' Day. So let's get cracking on the activity digest. Tom and I worked hard this week to meet and answer all your requests from the previous weeks. So I'm going to go over all the activities that we've uploaded in the past week, basically. I'm going to present them and we'll go over all the themes. And before I forget as well, yes, I'll also show you what we are working on that hasn't been uploaded yet, because I do want to get your feedback on that as well. So we had quite a lot of requests during the week and the previous weeks. Let me start from, there we go. So that was, we uploaded that on 26th of September. We've talked about that. So look, we've uploaded quite a lot of materials. I have the impression the light could be better. Wait. There we go. It'll be better. We've uploaded quite a lot of materials for first conditional, first and second conditional, mixed conditional, most of them P1s and P2s, because we had a lot of requests for that for pre-intermediate, intermediate levels. So these are all basic practice and speed and scramble activities. All right, speed, fill in the blanks, those are P2s, and basic practice, those are P1s. I know I'm not going to go over them today, because actually I know these were requests from another group of teachers. So if you have any questions about those, I can go over them. But I think it's pretty clear. These are just first conditional basic practice, mixed conditionals basic practice, first and second conditional automate activities. So those are all the conditional activities that we've added in the last week. And also, you might be interested, this was from a request from another group of teachers, but you might be interested in as well. This is very high level vocabulary. Do you know SATs?
No, I don't.
No, SATs are end of school type of exams. So it's like YEGE in Russia. So this is very high level vocabulary, C1, C2, as you can see. Discursive, concisely, now, discordant, things like that. These are new P1 type activities for very high level vocabulary. Again, this was a request not from your group of teachers, so I'm just letting you know if you want to go over them more in details, we can do that. But yeah, pay attention to that new category of vocabulary, SAT. Okay, it's like YEGE, but not in Russia. So those were the requests I wanted to show you from other groups of teachers. Okay, here you see more conditionals, things like that. Now, your specific requests from your group. First thing I want to show you are question words automate cards. I got this request actually in the middle of the week from one of you who actually said there are a lot of activities to go over word order and questions, things like that. But what about the very beginning, the question words themselves? There are not a lot of activities. She couldn't find activities to automate who, what, where, things like that. Of course, it's just vocabulary, right? You teach that vocabulary to your students. You can use different ways to teach. You can translate, you can avoid translation. That's up to you. But that's just presentation and P1s. And we made some P2 automate cards for all of that vocabulary. So check it out. It's vocabulary, basically. It's vocabulary. So you see we have cards to automate this. Each question word is associated to a picture. This is who, this is what, when, how. You see it's a scheme. How do we go there? Where on a map? Where is it? Why? The brain is thinking, why? Which? You have different similar boxes, but which box do you want me to give you? And whose? Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes, it's just pictures and the vocabulary to match. And you can use that. I've put in the instructions the different games you can play. So you remember, you can just start with match in memory, for example. The students match the pictures to the words, the vocabulary, and then you could move on to more automate type games. So for example, memory, where they put all the pictures face down on the table, and in turns, students take two of the cards. They must say the two words that they have. So it will be like what and how. If they don't match, the students put them back in the same position, and it's the turn of the next student. If they match, the student gets a point and gets to keep those cards, and you continue with the next student. So basically, it's just a memory game. It helps the students associate the words in the pictures. Then you can move on to card flip. So here, the students take only the picture cards, and one student flips the cards in order like that, and the other student has to say the word as quickly as possible. You time the students, and then you challenge them to do it faster and faster and faster. So for example, if you're showing me the cards right now, I'll try to do it very quickly, not in order. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, how, when, which, whose, that's what, why, where, who. I did it, I don't know, in 3 seconds 23, and tell me, Antoine, that's great. Now, can you do it in 2 seconds and a half? And I try again, and I challenge myself, and I try again. It's not real life activities. These are really just drilling, automate activities to make those 8 question words automatic. You can also have a reaction game, a race game. So reaction game it's like in the card flip, the student is challenging themselves. It's just one student trying to do it as fast as possible. But then you can have a reaction game where the students are competing against each other. All the picture cards are face down, and you flip one over, and the first student to say the word gets the card. And the next card, and the next card, how, and the next card, who, how. And each card I get is a point for me. This is not new to you, right? We've talked about this before. I actually put the link to another webinar that we've done where we talked about all these different types of games that we can do to automate vocabulary when we have cards with pictures and cards with words.
Mm-hmm.
So, big requests, question words. There was another big request on possessives, possessive pronouns, possessive adjectives, things like that. So here, similar thing, we've created quite a lot of activities for the possessive pronouns and adjectives. Let me show you. Here there's a very simple possessive pronouns race, but we've made it into cards. So you see, if these were not in card format, it would just be a P1. You could put it in a list as number 1. If you don't have a pen, you can take. 2, Jack wants that book back. And if you put it in that way, it's just a fill in the blank. But by cutting them up and using them as cards, actually you can make them into P2s in quite a lot of different ways. It's good fun. So I've repeated here, for example, you can do card flip. One student takes all the cards and times how fast the other student can go through all the cards. For example, if I'm student A, I've got all the cards stacked up in a pile, and I'll ask you, I'll unflip and I'll ask you. Okay, are you ready? If you don't have a pen, you can take.
Mine.
Yes.
Mine.
Mine. I didn't have headphones, so Jane gave me.
I don't hear actually.
Ah, you can't hear? I thought there was something we.
No,
I didn't have headphones, so Jane gave me hers. This dog belongs to our friends. He's theirs. Why did Frank take my hat? It's not his. And so it's just a card flip, like a bit like for vocabulary.
Mhm.
Right? You can play card flip. You can play a board race with these cards where you put students, well, you divide the class into 2 groups or more than 2 teams. Actually, you can. And each team has one member at the board, and you go over the cards, and the first team member at the board to answer wins a point for their team. And I like the game, the card format, because as they're cards, you can also do it in game show style. You split the class into groups, into different teams, and you're going to perform a game show type activity. So like you can find those in board game shops usually. Like you can find little buzzers. If you don't have a buzzer, it can be simply like the first team to raise their hands gets to answer the question. And basically,
What does it mean, buzzer?
a buzzer is those things that they have in you know, TV game shows. If you have different teams, the first person to press the buzzer and it goes, and there's a light. The first team to press the buzzer can answer the question first.
Okay.
So it's sometimes fun to do that for kids. Actually, I've done it with adults. They like it as well. You as a teacher, you kind of have to switch role. You have to be the animator of the game show. Or if your students are strong enough, you could ask one of the students to be the leader. Hello, everybody. Are you ready to play Possessive Pronouns Race? Today, we have Team 1, Team 2, Team 3. We're going to hear a few words from the leader of Team 1. Team 1, tell us a bit about yourselves. And you play it in that role. It's actually good fun. It engages the student. It distracts them from the activity. They get all riled up because it's like a TV game show. Okay?
Be sure we do this.
Sorry?
Be sure we do this.
I wouldn't hesitate, but
every day.
exactly. And these cards, you can use them in that way as well. These cards can just be your cards for your game show. So for possessives, we have the cards like that. We also made possessive pronouns and adjectives automate cards. So here it's just strictly P2 automate cards for vocabulary. You see here you have the vocabulary: my, our, your, their, her, his, its. Page 2, you have the vocabulary mine, ours, yours, theirs, hers, his, its. And on page 3, you have pictures to match.
And where
so
is
this is mine. Sorry?
And where is page 2?
We just saw page 2. There we go. Page 2 is mine. Page 1 is my. So you see, you have my, mine. Our,
Uh,
ours.
okay.
It
Personal
depends.
and possessives. Mhm.
Exactly. It depends what you want to automate yourself. So we made it both options. And here you have pictures to match with the pronouns. It's like here it's, for example, his, hers. All right.
Right.
And these cards, again, they're like vocabulary. So again, I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot today. But these work well with matching game, match the pictures, the memory game when the cards are flipped over, the reaction game when students compete against each other, who's first to say the word, the race game, the card flip, all those vocabulary automate activities work really like a charm with that, with all these cards. So those are the automate cards. And those, we're continuing with possessives. Look, so possessive pronouns race, possessive pronouns automate cards. But we've also created two activities that you can use in different ways. You can use for P2 or for P3. Check it out. The first one is more for young learners. We called it whose is this tale? So you're going to get, the material basically is cards with different animal body parts. So look, this game gives the students the opportunity to practice possessive forms of nouns and review animals' vocabulary. There are different ways to organize this game. So you can do, the teacher shows pictures to the class and everyone says to which animal this belongs. Here it's using just pictures, for example, you see? You have pictures here. So here you have a butterfly wing. Here you have a chicken's head, a crocodile's tail, a dolphin's nose. Sorry. A giraffe's neck. The legs of a toad.
Mhm.
The cheeks of a chipmunk or a squirrel. The feet of an elephant. The ears of a mouse. The tail of a pig. The wings of a penguin and the eyes of a panda. So you can just use the cards and ask, whose is this tail? Whose are these feathers? Whose are these wings?
Yeah.
Another way is the students work in pairs. One of them shows the card and the other one says whose these parts are. And finally, again, similar to vocabulary, a grab game. The students work in pairs and they turn a card, and whoever says first to which animal this part belongs gets the card. As you can see, those three types of activities are P2s. We're mainly drilling possessives and animal body parts. But you can also extend this. You see, I wrote it down here, a possible extension that is a lot of fun because you're already playing with animal body parts. The students can go beyond the cards given, and at the end, after doing some drilling with them, you can have them have a little project where they design their own monster, their new Earth animal. There are different ways to use this. You can have the students stick to the cards that they have, but I like to give them the idea that, hey, you know what? I didn't put the cards of every single animal body part. Oops. I started downloading it. Look, if there's a chicken's head here, we don't see the chicken's wings or the chicken's legs, things like that. The crocodile's tail, but we don't see the crocodile's teeth, things like that. So the students can actually make their own, let's say, monster using whatever they like. They can use, instead of the chicken's head, if they want, they can use the chicken's tail and combine it with a crocodile's head. Who am I to say? That's up to them. But so they can draw their own monster composed of various animal body parts together. They can do it in a team or You know, sometimes kids need 5-10 minutes alone time drawing on their own to get back into the lesson, right? It's all about managing their energy level during the class. So if
Mhm.
you see they're tired, this is a perfect opportunity. Hey, okay, guys, now 5 minutes, everyone alone. Let's draw the animal. And after that, this monster can be used as a project. It can be it can be brought home to the parents. The parents will be very happy. It can be put throughout the school, throughout the classrooms. The students are very proud. It's very motivating for them, and they can give a little presentation to their classmates or in groups. They can give little presentations about their mammals, what they eat, where they live. What else? What else could you say about my
What friends do they have?
perfect? What friends they have? So remember, I made a monster. What did I say? It had a chicken's tail and a crocodile's head.
Show me your friend and I'll tell you who you are.
I'm thinking a crocodile's head, so a crocodile's head means probably that my monster is carnivorous. It eats other animals.
Mm.
Chicken's tail and a crocodile's head. Where does it live? It probably lives in Europe. I mean, that's a good climate for both. Well, I'm taking it too seriously now already. But yes, you're absolutely right. Where does it live? Who its friends are? What it eats? You can also make little stories once the students have once the students have presented their animals to each other.
Mhm.
You can also have them think about little projects that they can do together. Okay, imagine my chicken tail crocodile head monster goes to visit your monster. Have a little dialogue. They're really kids get very creative with this kind of thing. So I like how this possessive activity starts very simply with 3 possible activities to automate, to drill, but actually there are a lot of possible extensions. Once you're dealing with animal body parts, you can really expand it. First, create your own monster, present it to the school. So you think about different categories, what it eats, where it lives, um, its habits, its routines, its friends, and
Mhm.
then you can.
Favorite subjects, maybe.
Sorry, favorite.
Subjects at school?
Okay, the monster goes to school too. What are its favorite subjects? Um, and then, yes, visiting each other's monsters. So if my monster comes to visit your monster, is it going to go well? We can make a little dialogue, a little theater play.
Mhm.
Really, kids will love this. So that's mainly for young learners to practice possessive. Whose is this tale? But we also thought, what about the more adult students? And so, still on possessives, this is camping on an island. Whose is this? It's a similar game that is mainly a P2 drilling activity as it stands at the beginning, but you'll see that again, you can expand it in different ways. So check it out. I'll first show you the cards. This is a really fun, it's basically going to be a guessing game. These are the instructions and here are the cards. So you see, these are example cards.
Mhm.
And then you have blank cards. Let me show you why. Because this idea here, we're going to play this as a guessing game. So first start by telling the students that they're going on a camping trip all together on an island for 2 months. 2 months. A camping trip, if it's a week, it's one thing, but 2 months, that's a pretty serious camping trip. It's almost like going to those what's that TV show again? The reality TV
That's
show.
to
Something.
stay alive, maybe.
Yes, Survivor. Something. I think it's yes, yes. It's called Survivor.
Mhm.
You can explain they're going to do something like that if your students are into reality TV shows, things like that. The main thing to tell them is ask them to think about what they would take with them. They're going to be allowed to take 6 items, and that's where the cards come into play. So you see they're going to have, for example, six blank cards. You are going to start by showing them the example cards. You say that you have already packed. So you see, ladies, we're going camping on an island all together for 2 months, and this is what I've packed. So this is my camera, this is my blanket, my toothbrush, my barbecue.
Of course.
It's an island. There should be fish at least.
Mm-hmm.
Barbecue fish. I'm personally not a big fan of fish. I prefer meat. If I'm going to eat fish, it has to be barbecued or fried. It has to fry.
So take sparrows maybe in order to kill some animals.
Well, that's the problem. I've already packed. I didn't think about that. Like an idiot, I brought my electric guitar. I hope one of you brings some electricity, some batteries or something, or else my electric guitar is going to be a bit. I do have a badminton racket, so I've only got one. I hope one of you brings a second one, or else it's going to be weird. Well, we'll find activities that involve only one badminton racket. So you show them the example cards and say that you've already packed, and now it's their turn. Try to emphasize that they shouldn't copy your cards. They can use your cards as inspiration. So, for example, you can joke about the electric guitar, and that might inspire one of the students to bring batteries or some solar panels, something like that. Your cards are supposed to inspire their cards. Maybe some students will bring a second badminton racket, for example, or a badminton net, because it's fun to play badminton, but without a net, it's a bit easy. After 2 months, I'm sure we'll need a net. See, you hand out the blank cards to all the students. It depends how much time you want to spend on that. You can give them only 3. You can give them all 6 each. They have a few minutes to think of what they want to bring, and they draw a picture. You then gather the cards together. So you see, when we're here, when the students are ready, collect the cards. Say that there was a storm on the island, and all the things got mixed up. You show one and ask whose they think this suitcase is. The owner cannot name themselves, okay? Mm-hmm. And the students start making guesses. Oh, it's Masha's book. No, it's not hers. She doesn't like detectives. It's Peter's. Mm-hmm. Things like that. Whoever guesses first gets a point, and at the end, whoever has most points wins. Mm-hmm. Clear?
Yeah. Pretty funny.
This is a lot of... Sorry?
Pretty funny. Task.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's
yeah. A real role play. Yes.
Sorry?
A real role play.
Yeah, basic. Role plays can go much further, honestly. No, it is kind of a role play. They're all taking the role of being shipwrecked on the island. Well, we're not shipwrecked. We're camping, but there was a storm and everything got mixed up. And you can probably extend, again, this activity as well, you can probably extend it, asking the students to come back together in little groups, in little teams. How would they survive using the equipment that they have? It's camping on an island. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's easy to extend. All right. So we've done whose is this tale, and camping on an island, whose is this? Sorry. Now, last things I wanted to show you today for Teachers' Day. We've got a few more things. I got this was both from your group and from other groups of teachers. I got more requests for more P3 activities that are liar types. So we've uploaded today. Yes, that was today actually. 4 new liar activities. You know how these work. So this one is a liar for a present continuous activity, for example. There's a video instruction for how to start liar activities with your students. The procedure is the same always with liar activities. Students first make the questions. They check the questions as a class. You pair or you group the students. And student A asks student B the question. Student B answers with the truth or a lie. A asks follow-up questions, which B answers. I would recommend, just depending on how much time you have and you want to spend on this, you just limit the number of follow-up questions. So you can say, for example, okay, 3 follow-up questions, which B answers. And then A has to guess whether B's original answer was the truth or a lie. Let's have a look at present continuous. There you go. So, for example, well, let's choose just the first one, for example. So we do, are you reading a good book now? So for example, you ask me, are you reading a good book, Antoine? I say, yes, I am. You have 3 follow-up questions to try to find out if that's true or not. You can ask me any 3 questions, I'll answer.
Okay. I can't grasp.
I said that I'm reading a good book now. So you can ask me, okay, Antoine, well, what's the book about? Oh, actually, it's a very interesting book. It's not a fictional book. It's a book about the planets in our solar system. You say, oh, okay, Antoine, interesting. What other question can you ask me? When did you start reading the book? That's a good question. It's a big book, and on this, you know, I have a lot of work. You know how much I love my work. I mean, I work every day on those materials. I absolutely love it. This planets book is a way for me to relax in the evening, to unwind. So I'm reading it slowly. I think I already started the book about 10 days ago, and out of all the planets, I've only reached Jupiter. So I'm not going very quickly. That's already 2 questions. You have 1 more question to try to figure out if I'm telling the truth or if I'm lying to you right now.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Oh, what's the title of the book?
Very good question. The title of the book is actually, honestly, I think they could have worked on their title a bit more, because it's very straightforward. The book is just called Planets.
The last question, that's why we need to be very straightforward.
Maybe, but now I've answered your 3 questions. Do you think I was telling the truth or I was lying to you?
Why not? It can be truth.
Nope, I was lying to you. It's actually, it was easy for me to lie, because actually all that I've just said is true. I just lied about 1 tiny detail. It's not a book, it's a series of documentaries.
So the only lie is that it's not a single book, yes?
It's not even a book. Those are videos. I think it's produced by the BBC. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, it's a series of documentaries produced by the BBC. You know, a bit like Blue Planet, Planet Earth.
No.
They're very, very, very good documentaries created by the BBC.
Yes.
Well, anyways, coming back to the liar game, you get the idea. First, the student A asks the question, student B answers, and student A doesn't know if it's true or not. You asked me, are you reading a good book now? And I said, yes, I am reading a good book.
But Antoine, you've told that you're reading a book soon. How can I find out that it's not true?
You asked me 3 follow-up questions. Well, I asked myself. You asked me, what's it about? I explained what it was about. You then, how long? When did you start? How long have you been reading this book? And then you asked me, what was your last question?
The title.
The title. That's it. So you can ask 3 follow-up questions to try to trick me, to try to test me. Honestly, it's very difficult because I've been playing liar games for a long time with my students, so I've kind of become an expert. I'm very good at quickly coming up. If you make it a small lie, it's easier. So for example, as I said, I didn't completely lie, I just changed. I told you not about a book that I'm reading, but about a documentary that I'm watching. And so my answers seemed very true to you because it was true. I was telling you about a real documentary that I'm watching. You see? It's a lot of fun. Students have a lot of fun with this. And did you notice you don't pay attention at all to, it's a very good distraction. The students are focused on finding out the answer, whether it's true or not. So they're completely distracted from their grammar, their vocabulary. So this is a very good P3 type activity. And you as a teacher can just listen to what mistakes they make and whether they use present continuous where they should. So these are liar games. Again, we had a lot of teachers asking us for more liar games. So we've just uploaded 4 new liar games for present simple, present continuous, past simple, and be going to. All right, these are low level. A2, B1. All right. All right, almost done. So right now, I'm going to show you one more activity that I've uploaded today. And then I want to talk to you about another project that we've started working on, new materials that we're developing for you. But I haven't uploaded them yet, and I want to tell you why. So first, the last activity that is new today. This is something that we were asked to do. We've already got a very good P3 activities for comparatives. It's called Robot Combat. Why isn't it opening? You can hear me, right? My internet is fine.
Yes, that's quite okay.
Yes, okay. Maybe I just needed to update the page. Okay, that's very curious. I was opening everything just right now and I uploaded this morning. Oh, well, okay, there we go. It was just a bit slow. So we were asked to create more of these combat cards. This is to practice comparatives, superlatives. We've already got the exact same game with robots. We've created a new one with monsters. And we were told kids love these. So we're going to continue creating more and more because this game is very simply inspired by a very popular children's card game. Look. So all you're doing, it can work, for example, like with Pokemons, things like that. It's very similar. I don't know why my internet is being slow right now, but look, so you are going to cut out these monsters into little cards, okay? On each card, you should have one monster. And the students, you divide the students into small groups or into pairs, and they each get a little stack of monsters. They should all have different monsters. When it's your turn, so when it's my turn, for example, I cannot choose. Students cannot choose. If they choose, it's going to take ages and ages, and they're always going to choose the same ones. You cannot choose. So I have my monsters in a stack of in a pile. You have yours in a pile as well. I take my first one. You take your first one. Because it's my turn, I make a sentence. So for example, I have Aquazog and you have Terrafor. I look at my Aquazog. Now, what is he strong or weak at? Well, he's very strong in dreadfulness and in spite. Okay. So you see the students they have help, okay? They have adjectives and everything, and this helps them for their vocabulary too. So you see dreadfulness, 87, scary, cute. Well, Aquazog, okay, so I can say, I'll try this sentence. Student A, I'll say, hey, you know what? I think my monster is scarier than your monster. Dreadfulness, 87. Well, let's check yours. It's a tie. Terrafer, it's a tie. Here, no one wins. Okay, we take our next ones. My next card is Sleazy, yours is Webclaw. Okay, it's your turn to make a sentence. You look at them and you say, hey, wait, they all have the same weight. Okay, I need to talk to Tom. That's why it's being slow. Okay, I need to change the cards because they have all the same weight. Let me show you back Robot Combat. Do you remember that one? We've done it before together. So the robots are supposed to have different numbers for each skill. So I'm going to do that today. Robot Combat, different numbers. I'll update Monster Combat after. I'm opening Robot Combat just to show you, okay? So if, for example, I have a Parabob and I look at my humor 89. I say, I think my robot is funnier than your robot. We look at Azerty, yours. Haha, humor 87. Hey, your robot is pretty funny, but it's not as funny as mine. I win, I take the cards. If you win, you take the cards. And we continue like that until one of the students has all the cards.
And Antoine, where have you got the statistics?
We made them up.
Huh?
It's our robots and it's our monsters, so we make them up.
Okay.
We don't. That is something that's very important to us. I mean, we work with a designer so that all the materials here are copyrighted. They're all original. You will not see any. We cannot. We're not going to create a superhero combat with Superman, Batman, things like that, because they're not our characters. It's not fair. Mm-hmm. It's so the monster combat. Well, we know, we understand how it works. I just need to differentiate the numbers because I uploaded cards that all have the same numbers. So if you do that, the students are always going to be in a tie. But the principle is exactly the same. Okay, you have the procedures here. I highly recommend you use it with kids, teens, even with adults. It's lots of fun. And we're going to continue developing different kind of combats like that. I want to make, because well, I think you know by now that I like the Harry Potter world, so I want to make a witches and wizards combat that would be fun, different combats like that. All right, do you have any questions or comments about all the activities that we saw today? Was it clear? Mm-hmm. Yeah?
As for me, I just don't like monsters, and maybe that's the only comment here. So
Well,
I like
that's
something.
why we're making different categories. We have robots now. We've added monsters, and I want to do
I wouldn't show them to children actually.
the monsters.
Yes.
Ah, okay. We're going to do. I want to do witches and wizards. We had a lot of different ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if there are no questions or comments about the activities, let me show you as well. So this is something that I have not uploaded to the database yet, to our website and materials yet, but I do want to show you because this came in part from your group of teachers, but as well from other groups. This is something as well that we're thinking about. In the past weeks, you've talked a lot about phrasal verbs, about idioms, and also about verb patterns, ing and infinitive.
Yes.
Um, Now we've started, as you can see. I'm going to show you what we've started doing, but this is a bit of a this is a longer project than the previous activities I showed you because here we're going to with Tom we're studying closely how best to group them
Mm-hmm.
because you know vocabulary like that usually it depends what textbook you're using and it depends what exam you're preparing for. So I've already got actually a few of you were very nice to send me some materials from which textbooks you're using, and of course the Macmillan Yege preparation book, for example, which gives us very good information as to which phrasal verbs, which verb patterns our students need to know for these different textbooks and for these different exams.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we cannot just make activities where we put all those phrasal verbs in one, for example. So we're working on putting them into different categories, different folders that are going to be easy for you to find. Let me show you, for example, so we've started verb patterns. One of the most obvious ones is offers and replies. So we've started working on P1s, for example, and listing them. So here is going to be verb patterns. What follows after verbs of offers and replies? Ing or infinitive. I suggest discussing. Recommend, recommend undergoing. Offer you to take. Advise you to go. Doesn't mind eating. Refuse to give. Fancy having. Consider moving. Oh, that's why I haven't uploaded them yet. These are still
Mm-hmm.
we're working on them and we're developing that. Prefer buying. All right? This is to show you.
Antoine, as far as I know, I prefer buying, but I would prefer and would like we use infinitive for.
Absolutely. Would like to buy. Like and prefer. Like and prefer are tricky because like and prefer can go with both.
Okay.
Those are annoying verbs. Like and prefer can take both infinitive and ing. I like going. I like to go to the cinema on weekends. Both are absolutely fine.
Okay.
Uh, I know that it depends on which exam you take. There's some exams that
Oh,
will not
yes.
like infinitive, but honestly, for real life, you will hear both.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Just in some books we have instructions that use this verb in this way and another in that way. So,
Now, the question I find the question here is what to follow. I prefer to follow directions from exams because at exams students are going to be marked right or wrong, and unfortunately there's nothing we can do to
that's the best.
change the opinion of exams. Exams are a unit of measurement, you know. It's just there's an institution, a government or an institution that needs to have an idea of the level of students, and they publish an exam, and that's the way it is. So you need to tell your students what is right or what is wrong for the exam, not just for real life. If it's just about the textbook is not going to test your students. You are going to test your students. So if a textbook is wrong, tell your students. I know it says in the textbook that you can only use like with ing form, but you know
Would
what,
like.
guys? In real life, that's not true. Like, you will hear, and this is not about American English or British English. In both countries, you will hear people say, I like to go, and you will hear people say, I like going.
Okay.
I like telling, do you know this expression in English, tomato, tomato?
So I know tomato.
But both are correct. Tomato, tomato. It's an expression to say it's an expression that's good to use to say that, well, sometimes there are two correct answers. It's possible. It's life. That's the beauty of our universe. We don't live in a 0-1
So
world.
we can use tomato in order to say just it depends. Yes,
Exactly. It's a good expression. Tomato, tomato. It depends. It depends. So I just wanted to show you that we've listened to those requests, and those request idioms, phrasal verbs, and verb patterns. I will not upload new activities on that as quickly as for other topics, because those are larger projects, and I don't. Tom and I are really obsessed with quality. It's sometimes a bit ridiculous. I do not want to upload activities for you with verb patterns before we seriously hash it out and give you a very useful way to do it. So you see, we've started putting them in different categories, offers and replies. Here we have verb patterns for attitude, for example. And you see, we won't just develop P1s, we'll develop P2s and P3s as well to try to give you different options, okay? So this is about attitude, for example. We're going to think about what verbs pertain to attitude. Avoid meeting people. I can't help. I can't stand. Things like that. To regret. To miss. Okay?
I'm sure it will be very valuable material.
We're working on it. We're working on it. I think it will be. As I said, I want to make sure that we do it well. I don't want to just upload these activities just to be able to tell you, hey, you wanted something, we did something. If it's bad quality, we're not uploading it. So give us a bit of time on the verb patterns. We're on it. Okay?
Okay, yes, of course. It is the right way.
I agree. I prefer it that way. All right. Do you have any questions, comments for today on everything I presented? And do you have any new requests?
Actually, as for me, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. You can always send me requests by email. Anyways, I get new requests. You know, I do these webinars and everything for well, regularly. I get requests by email. Don't hesitate. I'm really glad. I've been repeating it at the end of all the webinars for the past couple of weeks, insisting, don't hesitate to write. If you need something, tell me. And I'm glad to say you've definitely started to do so. We always listen to your requests, and if we can do something quickly that is quality, you'll know next webinar, like for the question words, like for the possessives today. If not, I'll let you know that we're working on it. All right?
Yes, Antoine, and maybe one question more. You had the information in your email about some school, yes, project school, iPol or something like that.
PenPals.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes, absolutely. It was very interesting. I actually met those guys, Joe and Mark, from PenPals. I met them in Nizhny Novgorod last week.
Mm-hmm.
Was that 2 weeks ago already? That was 2 weeks ago already. Well, when I went to the Nate Umbrella conference in Nizhny Novgorod, they were there. And yes, as I said in my email, I don't usually do that. I don't want to impose anything on you, things like that. And I find there are way too many online tools for teachers and for students, honestly. I can tell you, I know for a fact that the retention rate is the percentage of students that finish courses when they start them on online products is at an average of 6 to 7%. So most online products that are out there right now are just businessmen who have some kind of idea. They think they can make money off teachers or off students. So I'm very skeptical of all those. I told you about PenPals because I met the guys in Nizhny Novgorod and they showed me their project. It looks very interesting. It looks like it doesn't demand too much time from the teacher, and that it's very useful to the students because there's this idea of sharing projects with other students around the world and voting, commenting, liking projects, which is really it's what this generation of students are used to doing. I'm not great at it. I don't like a lot of things on social networks or comment. It's not my thing. But their generation, that's part of their reality. So I really like that project for that. I cannot. I'm going to start this week with a second group of students. Give me some time. I'm going to experiment with it a little bit with two groups of students. One group is about 11, 12 years old. One group is 16, 17.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll let you know how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Okay?
Yes. Okay. We are waiting.
I
With
agree. It
yes,
looks
maybe
very
just to
interesting.
share, yes, and to know what's this and how it works.
Exactly. I'm on it because really they have students from North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa. Uh, I think it will be very interesting for students to be able to share projects like that. I'm all for it. So let me experiment with it for another few weeks, and then I'll give you a more detailed review and maybe instructions how to get started.
Okay.
All right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. If that was it for this week, I'll let you go. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy your Teacher's Day.
Okay.
It's important. It's amazing that it's on a Saturday this year. So enjoy your Teacher's Day, and I'll talk to you probably next weekend. All
Mm-hmm.
right?
All right. Okay. So all the best to you and enjoy your Teacher's Day also.
Thanks. Have a great weekend.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.